4 days. That's all the time that passed between Dolly Parton talking about her future and the world finding out she didn't have one left. On August 25th, 2026, Dolly Parton died in Nashville. She was 80 years old. Her nephew, Brian Seaver, announced it in a video posted to her Instagram on behalf of the family. Her team later confirmed the cause: a brief battle with cancer, and she died peacefully, surrounded by the people who loved her. But here's what makes this one hard to sit with. Just 4 days earlier, in an interview with People, Dolly was still talking like a woman with things left to do. She admitted something most of us never got to hear from her directly: that she'd been dealing with health problems she hadn't paid enough attention to because she was too busy taking care of someone else. Her husband, Carl Dean, died in March of 2025 after 58 years of marriage. And in the months after losing him, Dolly kept showing up, kept working, kept smiling for the cameras. But underneath that, something was wearing her down. You could actually see it building if you go back far enough. In March of 2026, kicking off a new season at Dollywood, she told fans she'd been worn down and worn out. Grief does that. She said she'd had, in her words, a few little health issues, and that they were taking good care of them. It sounded like Dolly being Dolly. Tough, a little guarded, moving forward no matter what. Then in mid-August, just days before her death, she had to cancel a planned appearance at Dollywood. Dehydration, dizziness. Her doctor telling her to slow down. And still, when she spoke to People about it, she wasn't talking about slowing down for good. She was talking about healing, about getting back to work, about everything she still wanted to build. That's the part that stays with you. She wasn't saying goodbye. She had no reason to think she was. She was planning. And maybe that's not surprising if you know anything about who Dolly Parton actually was. She came up dirt poor in the mountains of East Tennessee, one of 12 kids, and she turned that into a career that spanned 7 decades. Music, film, theme parks, a literacy program that's put free books in the hands of children across the world. She didn't just survive a hard childhood. She spent the rest of her life building things that would outlast her, whether or not she was thinking about it that way at the time. So when tributes started pouring in on August 25th, they weren't just coming from country music. They were coming from people who grew up on her songs, people who never met her but felt like they had, people across every political line you can draw. Because somehow, Dolly Parton managed to be one of the only public figures nobody wanted to fight about. Her family's statement called it a rhinestone life, bright enough for the world to see. And they said something else worth sitting with, that her legacy wasn't really about fame. It was about love and resilience and showing up for people. Here's the thing about final words, though. We don't usually recognize them as final until it's too late to ask any follow-up questions. Dolly wasn't reflecting on a life that was ending. She was talking, like she always did, about what came next. New projects, unfinished ideas, a future she fully expected to be part of. She didn't get it, but what she built is still here. The songs are still here. The Imagination Library is still mailing out books to kids who've never heard of her and never will hear her sing, and will still grow up a little better off because of something she started. Dollywood is still open. Every album, every interview, every performance, all of it just stays. You can still press play and hear her voice like she's standing right there in the room with you. Maybe that's the most honest way to think about this. Not wondering what she knew or didn't know about how serious things really were. She'd been through hard health stretches before, going back to the 1980s, and she'd always come out the other side talking about the next thing. This time, she didn't get the chance. But the things she chose to spend her time on, those don't need her to still be here to keep going. So we're going to leave you with this instead of a question about mystery or regret, because there isn't one here. Just a woman who kept working until she couldn't anymore. What's the first Dolly Parton song you remember hearing, and who played it for you? Tell us in the comments. And if you want more on her life and everything she left behind, subscribe because we've got more of her story coming.